Time vortexes, from Star Wars to Star Trek, but the best and possibly the most known are from Doctor Who. Not only are these visual time tubes impressive for their unique designs, but also for their ever-growing changes, as with the rest of the show. While we know that the designs have a rebrand to freshen up the show, there is also an in-story canon answer to these changes. So let's begin. The first Doctor's vortex is basic. Well, basic compared to the rest of the shows. This is because during the first Doctor's era, he is only just beginning on his adventures, and his time meddling is at its start. This means time itself is running as it should, without any issues or bumps. It isn't until the second Doctor where we see our next noticeable change, and this is because the Doctor is of course in his second incarnation, meaning he has spent a few years knocking about in his old box, making slight changes to time and interacting where maybe he shouldn't have. This is why the vortex has a slightly different look to it, as time itself has also had some subtle changes. Next is our biggest change since the show's beginning. The third Doctor's vortex is by far more bombastic, with lots of new moving elements as well as the addition of colour. This again is because the Doctor, and now indeed the Time Lords, have continued meddling with time, making changes and interacting in key historical events. The Doctor and his companions, along with the Time Lords, continue meddling with time, making huge changes to the timeline, such as starting the Time War in Genesis of the Daleks, as well as interfering in countless wars and meeting countless historical people. This keeps happening right up until the 8th Doctor, and this is why the vortex keeps slowly changing all the way from the 3rd Doctor up to the 8th. Now, the 8th Doctor's movie vortex is where everything changes. The vortex is set right before the heat of the Time War, so the vortex is again at its most difference since when we last saw it with the 7th Doctor. Time is now thin and at a breaking point, as seen with the gaseous texture and random pieces of rock debris flying through the vortex. Then of course, we have the main Time War. The part of the war where everything is in total chaos. Daleks and Time Lords in battles all throughout time. This of course results in the entire Time War being time locked. And after the war, the time meddling dramatically calms down. With no Time Lords or Daleks left, the meddling slows down and is limited to just being the Doctor. Hence why the vortex has changed from with the 8th Doctor, and is now gaining some more strength and rebuilding itself, as seen with 9 and 10s. This is evident as we can see that the vortex itself just looks stronger. It has a faster moving pace and appears to be a more solid entity rather than just a little bit of gas with the 8th Doctor's movie vortex. Next is again another huge change, the 11th Doctor's stormy vortex. This is caused by numerous things. The first thing is that we have some massive moments in RTD's era, with time being totally reset in the Series 3 finale, the Master moving billions upon billions of entities through time itself, those entities of course being the Toclafane. And then of course we can't forget that the timeline changes, as seen with Fires of Pompeii and the most relevant, Waters of Mars. It is with these changes to time, and also the fact that the planets in Sol and Earth were literally ripped out of time itself, that our vortex becomes a vicious storm, as seen in Matt Smith's era. Through his era, the vortex again calms down and begins to look like something similar to 9 and 10s, as seen in Series 7B. And then the changes even more, becoming smoother and smoother, as seen with Series 8, 9 and 10's vortex, as they're more flowy and more liquidy, and they're more smooth. After Capaldi's regeneration, his new incarnation explodes the TARDIS. This would have damaged everything inside of it, from the Time Rotor right down to the Eye of Harmony. This would leave the Time Vortex in utter pieces, and time heavily damaged. Hence why 13's vortex is a jumble of broken colours, looking like muddled pixels on a TV screen. And is also why there are now a multitude of varying tunnels going to different places, maybe even different universes. So that's the canon reason to why the Time Vortexes change. I also have another video planned explaining why the Doctor's face changes to the face that it does. If you want to see that video, make sure to hit the like button or just tell me in the comments and I can get working on that as quick as I can. Thanks for watching, have a lovely day, evening, or wherever you are in the world, and bye bye.